What is going on, comic book fans? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another Final Order Cutoff highlights video. This is the video where I go over every single book that I found on this weekend's Final Order Cutoff that I found looks interesting. It doesn't have to be speculation, it just needs to be a really cool cover, a cool sounding new #1, and then I do go through all the DC and Marvel books and pick through all the synopsises and try to find if there's any books with a little bit of speculation in it, and I present all that information to you in today's video. So if that sounds something like you would be interested in, stick around because there is a lot to cover in today's video. There are 42, that's right, 42 cover lever picks to go through in today's video. And then there's 4 books that have a little bit of speculation and I believe 4 new #1s that we're gonna cover at the end of today's video. But before we get into all the fun stuff, we do have to cover a few things that are very important when we're talking about Final Order Cutoff. And the first thing is, if you guys are interested in picking up any of the books that I'm going to talk about in today's video, and you want to save up to 35% of the cover price of these books, excluding ratio books, and you guys need to get your pre-orders in by this upcoming Monday, which is December 16th of 2024 by 5 p.m. It's very important to do that to save up to 35% of the cover price of these books. Now, the next big thing that you guys need to know is that I record this video early. Today, right now, as of the recording of today's video, is December 12th of 2024. It is currently 6 p.m. at night, but Marvel, DC, and all the independent publishers have until tomorrow, which is the 13th of December, at 5 p.m. Eastern to lock in what books are actually going to be on this weekend's Final Order Cutoff. So that means a book could be added or removed after I finish recording this video. So there could be a book that I talk about that is actually not on this weekend's Final Order Cutoff, or there could be a book that I miss because it was added after I record this video. Now the last thing I want to tell you guys is that you guys have to do your own research. It's very important. This is my quick glaze over Final Order Cutoff. There are 2 people that I trust for speculation. They are probably the best in the game. It is Lefteros. He writes the list for coverprice.com. He's also on Instagram. You guys can find him there. Links down to his stuff down in the description below. And also my buddy Al. He runs the Comic Book Frontier. It is a great Facebook group, also linked down in the description below. All right, guys, with all that out of the way, we can finally dive into the 42 cover letter picks that I found on this weekend's Final Order Cutoff. All right, guys, before we dive into these 42 cover lever picks, I just gotta remind you, when I think a cover is spec worthy and I think it might sell well on the secondary market, either right out of the gate or in the future, I will put a little icon on screen that says spec worthy. It looks just like this, and there'll also be a little bell that sounds like this. So keep an eye out for that, keep an ear out for those, so that way you guys know what covers I think are spec worthy. All right, guys, first up, we got Detective Comics issue number 1093 with the cover B variant done by Dan Panosian. Dan Panosian is so hot right now, and this cover is pretty freaking good. The next up is another cover for Detective Comics issue number 1093 with the cover C, but there is also a cover D, which is a 1:25 black and white ratio variant done by Juan Friera. And it's pretty stinking nice, especially if you're a Batman fan. The next up is just a cool cover. This is the Ultimates issue number 9 with the 1:25 ratio variant done by Torrin Clark. I really just like the layout of this cover. I think it's absolutely fantastic, and there is a little bit of spec in this. Next up, Absolute Wonder Woman issue number 4 with the cover C, and also the 1:50 Virgin ratio variant. I guess DC has finally caught on that Marvel is making a lot of money off these 1:50s, 1:100s that are just virgins of the cover A's or the cover C's or the cover B's. It's lame. I don't like it. I wish these ratio books, they would actually give us a new artwork, but this cover is pretty stinking good. And this is done by Matea DeLewis and it's fantastic. All right, guys, there is another cover that I like for this book, and it is the cover F, and it's done by Pablos Villalobos. And yeah, it's pretty good. I think it could be better. I think he tried to make her too cute and too sexy, and she's like really thin. I don't know, she almost looks like a model, and that's not Absolute Wonder Woman in my opinion, but this cover is still pretty good. The next up is Green Arrow issue number 20 with the cover A, and it's done by Torrin Clark. Huge Green Arrow fan, and I think this cover is awesome. Next up is a gorgeous cover. This is Void Rivals issue number 16 with the cover B variant done by Omer. If you've been reading this book and you know this character Solia, it is just such an awesome depiction of her. It is so cool. The next up is another cover for the same book. This is the cover D. It's the 1 in 25 ratio variant done by Patricio. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the last name. I'm totally going to butcher it, but this cover is fantastic, and it features Hot Rod, my favorite Transformer. The next up is The Flash, issue number 17. This is the cover A, and it's done by Mike Del Mundo. Mike Del Mundo, goodness, this cover is so great. I love him. Next up, Harley Quinn, issue number 47. This is the cover B variant done by David Nakayama. Now, what I like about this cover is that Harley Quinn made a clay sculpture using the clay from Clayface to make her own Clayface, and it's all deranged, and it's so good. Now, next is another cover for this same book. This is the cover C variant, and it's the sweater weather variant done by Simon DeMeo. I'm a huge Simon DeMeo fan. I love Harley Quinn, and this cover is fantastic. The next up are a bunch of covers for G.I. Joe, issue number 3. First up, we get the cover B variant done by David Finch. After that, we get the cover C variant done by Pablos Villalobos. I'm hit or miss on this. Sometimes I look at it and I like it. Sometimes I look at it and I don't. After that, we get the cover D variant, which is the 1 in 10 ratio variant done by David Nakayama. I believe this book was on last week's FOC, but it must have got delayed or something because it's on again. Because I remember saying for this book, is that what is she doing in this pose? This pose is ridiculous. She's like half running, half jumping, and it just looks ridiculous. The next up is G.I. Joe issue number 3 with the cover F, which is the 1 in 50 foil ratio variant done by Patricia Martin Samaniego, and it's fantastic. What is the foil? Is it the red, the blue, the gold? Is it all that? I don't know. Hopefully it's not just a blanket foil because that would ruin this cover. All right, guys, next up is Gunslinger Spawn, issue number 39 with the cover A. It's done by Javier Fernandez. I'm a sucker for Gunslinger Spawns, and this cover is so freaking good. And guess what, guys? The cover B, done by Don Agulio, is also really fantastic. I like the falling red leaves. It just brings a certain, I don't know, energy to the book or to the cover, and it's so good. The next up is King Spawn, issue number 41. This is the cover A, done by Puppeteer Lee. Holy crap. This cover is so badass, like so badass. And I can see like 5 years from now, this cover getting a premium because this cover is just so epic. Now next up is Scarlet Witch, issue number 9 with the variant cover done by David Baldion. And the reason why I added this cover to the list is because I think it's fantastic because Black Cat just has this like look on her face, like she's complete shock. She's like, oh my God. And it's, you don't get that kind of stuff on covers too often. Usually they're being sexy or badass or cool. And this is just a great depiction of probably what's happening in the guts of this book. The next up is Power Girl, issue number 17 with the cover B variant done by the same artist, David Baldion. And it is so good. I really, really like this cover. I think it's fantastic. Next up, another cover for Power Girl, issue number 17. This is the cover C variant done by Matea DeLewis. Sexy, cool. Really got a lot of energy in this pose and what she's doing. I just think it's a great, great cover, and the colors were so good. Now next up is Black Canary, Best of the Best, issue number 3 with the cover C variant, which is a 1 in 25 ratio variant done by Chuma Hill. If you like Chuma Hill, you'll like this. It's Lady Shiva. She's a blood in her hands. She's in the ring, probably beating the crap out of Black Canary. So good. Next up, Minor Arcana, issue number 5. This is the cover F, which is a 1 in 25 ratio variant done by Sebastian Fumera. Great cover, especially for this book. This book, interiors really do suffer. It's Jeff Lemire art on the inside, and you know, it's a really hard art to swallow sometimes. It's very, I don't know how to explain it. You guys got to check out some Jeff Lemire art online. It's not for everyone. I don't love it, but I love his storytelling. But these covers really sell this book so well. This character is so cool. It's a great book. Make sure you're reading Minor Arcana. The next up is Green Lantern Fractured Spectrum, issue number 1 with the cover B variant done by Stefan Segovia. So cool. So cool. It's such a great cover. And the Green Lantern story is so good right now. If you guys aren't reading this book, make sure you are. Next up, Epitaph from the Abyss, issue number 7 with the cover B variant in the cover D, which is a 1 in 20 black and white ratio variant done by Joel Jones. I don't know. Joel Jones' art is just so good. And they got a vampire lady that already bit the girl's neck and there's blood squirting out of it. So cool. The next up is Power Rangers Prime, issue number 3. And I like the cover A, the cover H, which is a 1 in 25 virgin, and the cover K, which is a 1 per store virgin variant done by Dan Mora. I don't know what it is about this cover, but I think it's absolutely just badass. It's so cool. Some of the covers for this Prime, Power Rangers Prime have been so good. And I don't read it. I just pick them up for the covers. Next up, Star Wars Legacy of Vader, issue number 1 with the variant cover done by Annie Wu. Really cool. Just a really, really cool cover. There are some other covers for this that are also really good. There is one more that's on the list, but there are a bunch more, so make sure you guys are checking out all the covers on League of Comic Geeks. All right, guys, next up is the 1:25 ratio variant for this same Star Wars Legacy of Vader, issue number 1, but this one is done by John Jang, and it is... yeah, it's a really good John Jang. Like, I don't love him personally. A lot of people do, but I think this one is really cool. Next up, Deadly Tales of the Gunslinger Spawn, issue number 2 with the cover B variant done by Mark Spears. He is so hot right now. I would definitely pick this up if you were trying to flip Mark Spear books, because I think this one is going to do well. You get Gunslinger Spawn, a cool horse, and like a zombie. Get out of here. Next up, The Seasons, issue number 1 with the cover C with the 1:25 ratio variant done by Kent Williams. Again, this book must have been delayed because it was on last week's video, and it's just a really cool cover, and it's a Rick Remender book. Next up, City Beneath Her Feet, issue number 2 with the cover B variant done by Mateo DeLuis. I do not know anything about this book besides it being written by James Tynion IV, but this cover is badass. Next up, Heatseeker Combustion, issue number 3 with the cover B, but also the cover G nude variant done by Jay Ferguson. If you like a lady cover, this cover is very fantastic. Next up, No Home Here, issue number 1 with the cover A done by Jonathan Galpon. Really cool book. It's a Spawn book, if you guys did not know that. We'll talk about it more later in the video, but this cover is just really cool. Next up, The Fade, issue number 3 with the cover B variant done by Stephanie Hans. I believe this is a younger audience book, but this cover is just so beautiful. It's so cool, like really cool. I like it a lot. The next up are some awesome covers. This is Pinup Apocalypse, issue number 1 with the cover E, which is the 1:10 ratio variant done by Michael Lombardi, which is really cool. But let's continue. There's also the cover F, which is the 1:15 ratio variant done by Andrew Tarusov, which is really, really nice. But let's continue because there's also the cover G, which is the best cover of them all. This is the 1:25 virgin ratio variant done by a name I'm not even gonna try to pronounce. It's up on screen right now, guys. This cover is fantastic. And this book sounds really cool. Again, we'll talk about it later in the video. Now, how many more covers we got left? We got 5 left. Next up, The Amazing Spider-Man, issue number 62 with the second print 1:25 virgin ratio variant done by Scotty Young. So good. Love the Virgin. Out of my price range. Next up, All New Venom, issue number 1 with the second print 1:25 virgin ratio variant done by Humberto Ramos. Again, so cool, but we're gonna be out of my price range. Next up, Ultimate Universe 1 Year In, issue number 1 with the second print variant done by Alessandro Capaccio. Fantastic cover, and it's blowing up already on the secondary market. Not the second print, the first print. And the last book that I found on this weekend's Final Order Cutoff that I think could sell well based on the cover art alone is Laura Kinney Wolverine, issue number 1 with the second print 1:25 virgin black and white ratio variant done by J. Scott Campbell. All right, I only got a little bit of time. I get 8 more minutes to record these next 2 sections, so we're gonna fly through these. All right, guys, stick around because we're gonna talk about speculation and new number 1s. All right, guys, the books that have something in the guts. There's only 4 of them, but each one of these books has something. Maybe it's good, maybe it's great. Guys, make sure you guys are doing your own research. First up, we got Green Lantern Fractured Spectrum, issue number 1, with the introduction of the fractal lanterns, beings that manifest uncontrolled parts of the emotional spectrum. After that, we got Power Girl, issue number 17, with the debut of a new Power Girl suit in this issue. Really good spec right there. No, I'm joking. Joking. But, you know, maybe that will be something in the future. Who knows? Next up, Power Man Timeless, issue number 1. The solicitation suggests a mysterious new enemy will be introduced in this issue. Very loose spec right there. Very loose, but guys, make sure you guys are doing your own research. And last but not least, we got the Ultimates, issue number 9, with the introduction of Ultimate Luke Cage. And if they don't make him a freaking badass, I'll be so annoyed, because Luke Cage is one of my favorite Marvel characters. He's so cool. But guys, that's everything that has something in the guts. Let's go ahead and move over to the final section of today's video, which are the new number 1s that I think you guys should consider picking up, because the stories sound pretty freaking cool. All right, guys, we got 4 new number ones on this weekend's Final Order Cutoff that I think you guys have to pick up because I think the story sounds really good. And the first one up is The Seasons issue number 1. Again, I believe this book was on last weekend's Final Order Cutoff when I made the video, but it must have been delayed for one reason because it's back on this weekend's Final Order Cutoff. It's written by Rick Remender and we got art by Paul Azaceta, and it sounds really freaking cool. Summer, winter, spring, and autumn are the Season sisters, the daughters of the world-renowned Seasons detectives. 10 years ago, their famous parents disappeared. Left to raise themselves, the sisters formed an unbreakable bond. Now that bond is tested as the sisters fall prey to sinister forces. The youngest sister, Spring, is the last hope of saving them from a fate far worse than death. Will Spring be able to piece her shattered family back together before it's too late for them all? I don't know, but it sounds really, really cool. There are some really cool covers for this book. I'll make sure I'll show them during the reading of that synopsis, but that's the first book. Next up, we get Eddie Brock, Carnage, issue number 1. Now, I'm very hesitant to be excited about this book because Eddie Brock should never be in the Carnage symbiote, but it's written by Charles Soule, which immediately got my interest a little piqued. Let's read the synopsis. The most lethal protector of all. He's been Venom, he's been Anti-Venom, he's been the King in Black. Now Eddie Brock has made his darkest bond yet as he joins with the one and only Carnage. Can he control his new other's endless bloodlust, or will he give himself over to madness and murder? Join Eddie and Carnage on a journey into the darkest parts of the Marvel Universe with bloody death as their only guide. Again, Charles Soule, and we got Jesus Sayas as the artist on this book. I'm hesitant to be really excited because I really like Charles Soule, but Eddie Brock and Carnage, it just doesn't sound like a good fit, but we're gonna have to wait and see. Next up, No Home Here, issue number 1. Now this is that Spawn book that I was telling you guys about. It's gonna be written by Daniel Henriquez, and it's gonna have art by Jonathan Galpon. He is the artist on the cover, which looks absolutely amazing. But let's read the synopsis. What happened to Sherry Lee, the 7-year-old victim of the infamous serial killer Billy Kincaid? No Home Here, an epic new chapter in the Spawn universe, explores the fate of the innocent young girl. Her harrowing adventures with a stranger are laid bare as her story in the world she now inhabits is revealed. With a story conceived in the twisted mind of newcomer Daniel Henriquez and interior art by celebrated artist Jonathan Galpon, the reader will explore parts of the Spawn universe never seen before. The series will ship bi-monthly starting January and cost only $2.99. That's pretty freaking cool. And last but not least is Pinup Apocalypse, issue number 1. Now this is coming from Massive Publishing, and it's gonna be out there and weird. It's coming from a creative team I've never heard of before, Brendan Jones and Andrew Tarusov. And it just sounds pretty interesting. Pinup Apocalypse is a mix of 50s sci-fi and horror tropes reimagined with a clever twist. Set in the 1950s small-town America, this satirical adventure pits 2 stylish pinup girls against hordes of zombies and aliens. Inspired by Hollywood filmmakers like Ed Wood, Sam Raimi, and Edgar Wright, Pinup Apocalypse is an out-of-this-world story, which just sounds really freaking cool. And guys, I showed you those covers and there's so many more that are really good. I'll make sure I will have shown those during this reading of the synopsis. But guys, those are the 4 number 1s that I think you guys will be really excited about coming out on this weekend's Final Order Cutoff. So make sure you pre-order them and save that 35% off the cover price of those non-ratio books. All right, guys, that's everything that I'm going to talk about. So let's go ahead and wrap this video up. Alright guys, we've made it to the end of today's video, and I apologize if I spoke really fast in today's video. I had 20 minutes to record this video. That's it. That's all I had today, and I fit it in, and I'm just happy to get this video out to you guys because there were just so many cool covers that I had to show you guys, because I want to give you guys the opportunity to get these with that sweet, sweet discount. Not have to wait for New Comic Book Day and pay full price. Because that's why I make this video, because I want you guys to be able to save the same money that I save. Now, if you guys have been watching from the beginning of this video all the way to the point of this video right now, you guys are legends. Now, if you guys haven't smashed the like button just yet, smash that like button. It helps the video more than you guys can know. And if you guys watch that video and you're first time watchers and you guys enjoy comic book content and you guys are not subscribed, I'm just gonna say, what are you doing? get yourself subscribed, hit that bell for notifications, and smash that like button. All right, guys, no Comics and Beer this week. Nate has a wrestling match, and that takes precedent over doing a live stream. So I'm gonna go watch him wrestle and kick some butt. And we'll be back on Tuesday with the Wednesday pull list. Have a great weekend. Have a great final order cutoff. Make sure you guys read all the previous issues to the books that are coming out next week. Get all caught up, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.